It's football time. It's football time. It's football time. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
And that's right, it's football time in Tennessee. We had a major blowout game, of course. I called it right down there. I said it was going to be 70-0, and I was close, very close. It was end up being 71-0, but anyways, that was an amazing game. And as always, I'm Dustin, joined here as always with Jaden and Cody. And guess what, guys? We have a special guest with us today. Clay is in the house, so to speak.
How's it go?
Well, we had a triumphant show up of Tennessee in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean,
for like 60 points.
it was crazy. I'm watching the game. You know, we're in Discord chatting with each other. In the first quarter alone, we had 37 points, and I'm thinking, you know, I had just said on the podcast 70-0. They already got 37 points in the first quarter. They're on par to beat that by the half of the game.
Yeah.
That was insane.
I mean, 65 in the first half.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
blew my mind.
a record.
Yeah,
A record, by the way.
I think the previous record, if I'm not mistaken, in a half was 62. I think, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And then they of
Something
course
similar.
broke it. They got real close to being the all-time highest points in Neyland Stadium, or since Neyland Stadium's been around, which was 72. So he was super close. He should have went for that field goal to get that record, but you know, he did play classy air at the end.
Aside from the onside. first half.
That was savage.
Yeah,
I'm
I've never seen that in my life.
We're up already like 3 touchdowns, and he kicks an onside kick, and we recover. That was the most savage moment of the game. Who called that?
Like, Kent State probably played worse than any team that we
Oh,
played
yeah.
so far.
I mean, number one, they need to fix their
That'll
center
be the easiest
issues.
game all year by far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the center for Kent State was. I mean, he was pretty much.
Bro needs to be
Hutting, yeah.
Bro needs to be encouraged to transfer and transfer home and never come back.
He was hiking the
mean-
ball to the moon. I think. I mean, it was way
Bro
over
had the
everybody's head.
center glitch,
Yeah.
hiking the
Did
ball
y'all
into
see
the
where
end
they
zone.
pulled his scholarship? No, I'm
Did
just
he-
kidding.
Oh, I was going to say, did he really?
No.
What?
Nah,
I
I'm
would
just
have.
kidding.
Oh God.
I mean, it was so one-sided. Just to start this off, just to give you a comparison, their quarterback, the whole entire game, only
Yeah,
got
2 different ones.
yeah, I know, 58 yards was their highest passing yards that they got. Or I'm sorry, yeah, passing yards, 58 yards. That's it for the whole entire
They
game.
threw 9 for 15
Yeah,
and no touchdowns or interceptions.
that's 4 quarters. That's and 58 yards.
And I'm pretty sure, like, close into the second quarter, they were rushing for like negative 20
Yeah.
yards or something.
He had negative 25 yards and like,
Negative 25 yards.
and they
I
kept
think if that
swapping through
quarterback-
QBs.
I think if the starting quarterback worried more about football than worrying about his hair, he'd be all right.
That's a possibility. That's a. I
The
mean,
commentators just quit commentating and just started talking about like hair products because they didn't know what else to talk about.
Jordan-
anymore.
Jordan Rogers was up there in the booth, and he was like, they started talking about the Yeehaw, like the pit over there, and they were talking about like
The body farm.
body farm. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't even halftime, and they were already like trying to come up with other things to talk about. It was boring to them at that point.
I mean, it is for
They
everyone.
even said it.
I mean, what else are you supposed to do? There's nothing to commentate.
I mean,
wow,
they got
scored
shut down.
again. Like, yeah.
They got shut down on passing. They got shut down on rushing.
Oh yeah, they got 700. We had 740 total offensive yards, 284 passing, 456 rushing yards, and 9 yards per play. 32 first downs, 9 of 15 third down efficiency, 3 out of 4 fourth down efficiency. We made 80 total plays, which is double pretty much theirs. We punted 0 times. 0 times, and they punted like 2 or 7 times or whatever. Penalty yards, 5
Yeah,
for
I
54.
kind
I
of
don't know.
liked the
5 for 54 or something stupid.
kind of like the decisions of not like we had a couple fourth downs where he let Nico take the ball and put it in his hands. I like that because it's given him some experience in those situations. He did that with Hooker a lot. Hooker was, he gave it up and said, "Hey, it's your ball. You're the one who's going to make it or break it here." And I liked seeing him giving that reins over to Nico in that position.
Like,
Uh,
he did good.
Here's the thing too. I mean, you don't want him throwing a lot against a bad team, or he'll get used to people being open.
Well, that's true. But
Yeah,
he
he
was
only threw 16 passes.
he was
Made
still
10 of them.
throwing some passes that I would not even attempt in NCAA, football, like the game. I wouldn't attempt those passes on there, and it means nothing.
Well, yeah, but it also goes back to what I said like 2 episodes ago when we were talking. The NC State game where that one quarterback on Twitter was reacting to like that throw, over the middle, over the linebackers.
He did that again.
He was like, yeah, the old professional quarterback was like, I probably wouldn't have thrown that throw because I probably don't have the skill like Nico to throw the throw, but I can't. And he was like, I don't know if I could say it was a bad throw or not because, well, he made the throw, but also I don't think I have the skill like Nico does to make the throw. But I mean, for us, yeah, it definitely looks questionable. Like you're throwing it over the middle. Linebackers literally backed up. They gave cushion for the pass. Like they backed up. They were ready for it, and you still placed it perfectly enough to where Brew McCoy can go up there and grab it and come down with it. First down. I thought it was when I see people throw over the middle, I'm half expecting that loud pop sound and intercepted, and it's every single time because throwing over the middle is like
dangerous.
A sin.
Yeah, it's dangerous. There's so many defensive guys right there.
But yeah, he did it again. He did it again in Kent State.
I mean,
I saw that.
They did some things that I mean, it was the same playbook, and I liked, Jordan Rogers was talking, what can we learn about this game, although it was a major blowout, with a team that should never, ever play, Tennessee ever again if they're wanting to live. But they said that, Tennessee knew that this game wasn't going to be that big of a game for them, and we played like it was against Alabama or it was like Georgia or something. They did not let up, and that's good. I mean, that means that we're hungry. We're hungry for the best. We're hungry to be the best.
Yeah, and I don't know, 71-0. I love shutouts. I feel like if we could, I feel like I would have been a lot happier if we shut out NC State, Chattanooga. We should definitely shut out Chattanooga.
Oh yeah,
right? That's
but
crazy. They allowed them to get 3.
First game of the year.
First game jitters or whatever. I get it, but like, to give NC State the benefit of the doubt, like I knew they would score something at least, but only get 10 and to get dropped out by 41 points, you need to just retire your football team because that's like. NC State last season was talking about, oh, yeah, blah, 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 their defense, blah, 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 their offense, blah, blah, oh, it's coming back this year. And then they play us like, yeah, NC State has a real chance. And then they didn't have a chance.
No, they didn't. And to be fair,
that's just the
Kent
ACC
State.
in general. Not to bash ACC conference lovers, but like the ACC conference is the 3rd best conference in the nation for a reason. They're not the 2nd. They're not the best. Sorry.
Well, see, now that's like something that me and Dustin were talking about before we started. A lot of the SEC teams that you see this semester or this conference or this game. I mean,
technically it was a semester so far.
True.
So. They're struggling
there's not
against a lot of some of them. A lot.
And there's
a
not
lot
many
of these
conferences that have 6 out of the top 7 that are SEC.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
but
like Michigan's 17th now or something. They barely beat Arkansas State.
Yeah,
Arkansas State, good old Butch Jones, but by big team. He almost beat them, barely beat them.
I mean, Alabama and Georgia both have struggled this year already.
Yeah. And that Kentucky-Georgia game was baffling to me. Baffling.
I don't know what happened to Georgia. I don't know if they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And this is not a Georgia, Kentucky, this is not a podcast for that. But I
Yeah,
mean,
but
just what we're looking at our schedule, coming up, we got both of those teams we got to play later on in the season,
yeah,
and they have struggled
the
right out
real
of the
season
bat.
starts this week
Oh yeah, absolutely.
at Oklahoma, which
Yep.
I think we will. The way we've been playing, it's kind of removing doubt for me. I think we waltz into Oklahoma and Arkansas and beat the brakes off of them.
Just
There's gonna be a lot of nerve for sure.
Oh
as
yeah,
far as
especially
how
for the
well we're
Oklahoma
turning.
game. For
But
sure.
I
Yeah.
think give
Arkansas, we
a drive
slammed.
or two, it ain't gonna be close.
we talked about this back a couple podcasts ago, that the predictions, after they beat the first Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
Yeah, they said that they may have to change the predictions up for this year. Well, they have. So, Oklahoma at one time, Oklahoma had we had a 49% chance to win against Oklahoma. Right now, we have a 71.2% chance to win against Oklahoma.
To be fair, well, Oklahoma played Temple this last week, and yeah, I makes sense that
And
they
they
would slam
struggled,
Temple.
but they struggled against. I watched that game. They had some major hiccups.
I didn't watch anything, but I know. I mean, they did slam Temple 51-3. Now Houston, I'm like, I don't think Houston's entirely terrible, but for a supposed SEC caliber team, I think you just beat the brakes off of Houston.
Oh yeah, you should.
Except Vanderbilt.
I'm sorry. They
Unless
not
you're Vanderbilt,
Temple.
then
They
you
didn't
lose
struggle
Houston.
against Temple. They struggled against
Houston.
Tulane. So sorry. Yeah.
Tulane. Oh,
Yeah.
Tulane. They played past week. Sorry, this is weird. I'm looking at the schedule thing, and I didn't full screen it, and it showed like Tulane first, if it was like the first game of the week or something strange. Sorry, Tulane.
Yeah.
That's right. They played.
They played
Tulane
this past week, and they did struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 34-19, and Tulane was hit. I think they hit first, if I'm not mistaken. They came out swinging. No, they didn't. I'm sorry. They came out in the second quarter and started swinging, and they at least scored on them once a quarter after that. Now that means they may have some issues in the defense side, which is just going to be singing Nico's praises when he gets in there, just picking that defense apart.
I'm definitely not underestimating Oklahoma. I want to underestimate nobody.
No, but they have a few key linemen hurt too.
That is true.
We had
Our
four
pass
people.
rush is kind of legit.
Yeah, and we had 4 people just literally this last game that was out. Let's damn, I don't even know what I was gonna look up.
I mean, I just think it's interesting that now the chances to win, the probability in these games have changed widely. I mean, even Alabama, looking at that one down the road, we now have a 45% chance to win. At one time, they was only giving us 37%. So that's even went up. And if we beat Oklahoma, it's going to grow even more.
That, like I did say, what was it? Not last episode, the pregame for Kent State, but the post, I think, for NC State or something.
Yeah.
When we were talking a little bit about conference play where our real season begins. But like I said, I brought up the articles and sources, like a bunch of people saying Oklahoma just doesn't seem ready for the SEC. But to be fair, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, Vandy doesn't either.
Yeah, but like Vanderbilt's just been an SEC team for ages. Like Oklahoma joined the SEC doesn't seem like. Vanderbilt's like one of those teams. Like, yeah, we fell off. What about it? And that's it. Like they're there for their hospitals and med degrees. Like they don't care. They're just there. They're just happy to be there. Oklahoma's was somewhat. Well, I mean, they did beat Texas last year. The Red River rivalry.
They did, and we are
Texas
marching
a little
down
crazy
there
this year.
Texas is crazy.
Oklahoma, we're going to Oklahoma, but here's the thing where even though we're going down to Oklahoma for this game, this is a game that means a lot to coach.
It does. It does.
Especially since he got fired as their offensive coordinator.
And do you think he'll pull off a gas?
Oh no! I'm telling you, this
is
alma mater.
The days of Nico coming out in the first half are over. That's it. Oklahoma on is Nico will be playing the whole entire time.
This is our first
conference
game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. After this week, we have we have 7 straight counting Oklahoma. conference
Yeah,
games.
we have 1, 2. Yeah, because you have to play 8 conference games in a
I
season.
mean, granted, we have a few bye weeks, but that's a that's a tough stretch.
Yeah, and then
No matter who you
the
are.
7. Yeah, counting Oklahoma, you have 7 straight conference games because that's the real season begins, and then you have UTEP November 23rd, and then it ends on Vanderbilt.
Yeah, we only have. I mean, besides Florida, I mean, Florida should be there.
Now that
Poor
now with
Florida.
Florida in shambles, even though it is, if you count the Oklahoma week, 3 weeks away, but if you don't count Oklahoma week, 2 weeks away, since Florida's in shambles right now, to be honest,
They will have a new
I
coach
think
when we face them.
I think they will, but I honestly still think we slam Florida now. Like now that
Oh,
little
yeah.
Florida bug that I usually have, like I've explained this and I can't emphasize it. It doesn't matter how good we are on paper when we go against Florida. They have owned us in football. Doesn't matter every single time.
Yeah, but we
Because
are
it's a
home this game.
mental game. Like Florida's like one of the biggest rivalries in our season, you know. So
Well, the best team in Florida now is Miami. So
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But
And we don't face them, so we're good.
The Florida bug I have this
Honestly.
year is like gone, but I just know that it's a mental game, and it's like people make the dumbest mistakes when they play against Florida. Like I'm telling you, if you look back to like the past 20 years of history, maybe even the last 15, if you look at the teams, like both sides on Florida and Tennessee on paper has quite literally had the best team every single time, and we have lost every single time. Like, what, we were like on a 12, 13-year losing streak to Florida at one point. However long
it
it
was
until
quite a bit of time.
2016.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like 11 years or something stupid. Like, really? It took till 2016 to finally break that streak, and not to mention it took till 22 to break the Alabama streak.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I mean, those teams
I
we faced
understand,
for a
but-
long time. But I
And
mean,
it's the opposite for Kentucky.
Oh,
Kentucky
yeah.
doesn't matter how good Kentucky is that year. We just slam them in every year. They could be number 1 in the nation. Well, that's a little arbitrary. We've never played
yeah,
them.
that's
but-
yeah.
But you know what I mean. I'm
It's-
just drawing
come on,
the,
it's still
I'm drawing
Kentucky,
the
guys.
point. I'm drawing the point that it doesn't matter how good Kentucky is. We've just owned them in football every year, no matter what.
I think the problem with I mean, you know, Florida this year is going to be, even at the start of the year, they're going to be a different team. They'll have a new coach in that position. Either it'll be the offensive coach taking out. I don't know who it'll be. I have no idea. But it'll be a
Can
brand.
the players adjust to the new coaching?
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I would say there's going to be a lot of mistakes, especially if they put the offensive coordinator in charge to be the head coach. That's going to be a rookie coach taking over an SEC team playing against so far a very elite Tennessee.
Okay, so I know this is the Kent State thing, but again, like the announcers even did, there's not much to talk about. I don't know what we're supposed to talk about in a Kent State game. It was 71-0. I'm sure we'll bring it back in a little bit, but like, I want to ask y'all something. I watch like a bunch of YouTube channels or whatever that, talk about a lot of the games around the country or whatever, and sometimes specifically Tennessee football. But, okay, real chances now. I know we're only 3-0. It's still early season conference play. Real season starts this week this week. So the way that we've been playing, genuine thoughts on how you think we will end the season, because I've been seeing people saying like Tennessee, man, they're a championship contender team. I'm like, all right, I'm glad we have a good pieces on the team, but it's that battered Ball syndrome. Like something's gonna go wrong. What's gonna go wrong?
My take on it is, you gotta think about Nico. I mean, this is his first year as a starter.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, he ain't played a full game since January when we played Iowa in the bowl game.
We slammed them in.
I mean, this is his first year. Just kind of like gotta see what he's made of.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I
it
agree
really
with that.
depends on how he plays.
I
Is
agree.
gonna determine on
And
how far we go
because-
this season.
I agree, because these people 3 games into the season are like, yeah, man, they'll go for a conference title. I'm like, all right, Bo, that's crazy. You need to chill
But
out
Nico's
for a
only played
second."
half of all 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah.
technically only played one full
That's
and a
true,
half of a
actually.
game. That's it.
Yeah.
And Jalen Milroe and
once you
Nussmeier
get
and whoever
into
else has
the-
played.
Like an away game where we played Georgia away this year.
I think we lose
mean-
Georgia in the long way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't see us beating Georgia at Georgia.
Like,
that's just,
real-
That's
and I know-
hard.
It just depends.
Yeah.
I know it's still in
Georgia
football.
tends
Go ahead.
Georgia just tends to start out slow, and I mean,
Mhm.
if
That
we
is
can
true.
keep the ball rolling down the field like we have been, I mean, you got to think 3 of our top receivers only have 5 receptions on the year,
Yeah.
and all of
Yeah.
them are around 100 yards.
I mean, Dylan Sampson wasn't the top rusher in this game in Kent State. It was Bishop. Bishop had more yards to carry. Dylan Sampson.
We
didn't.
also got to make sure Nico stays healthy. He
That
needs
is
to learn
true.
how to slide. The kid needs to learn how to
But-
slide.
Yes.
So like, and going back to Clay's point, like it depends. That's true, but like the thing with college football, it's not as black as white as the NFL. Like if you have an NFL team that's good, you expect them to be good every single year because they have the same players every single year, the best players in the game or in the the league every single year. With college football, it's just not the case. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. Who thinks of that?
Yeah,
It's just random. FSU ruined their playoff chances the first 2 games of the season.
They lost
Like,
the third
who's-
one too.
And-
Yeah, and
Yeah, they're
lost
0-3.
like the things we talk about, these teams like App State and Boston College, they're upset teams.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
been known to do stuff
South
like that. Like they're
Carolina.
never usually good, but they go crazy on
They
certain
find a way
teams.
to win.
Yeah, they find a way to win, and that's why college football is awesome. You can't be like, oh yeah, we're going undefeated. How can you say that?
And I mean, technically,
how can you say
Kentucky
that?
was almost an upset team this week. I
They
mean,
were.
they only
They were.
lost by 1 point.
I was actually rooting for Kentucky. To be fair, I was actually wanting them to beat Georgia, just
I mean,
because.
to be honest, I'm a diehard Tennessee fan. I watched that game when I did Tennessee.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
no
did.
reason not to.
Can't do it.
I
had
swapped it, dude.
I stayed on Tennessee.
Well, I actually finished it till Kent State was like, we're done with the abuse and doesn't need it with their last possession. I watched it till the triple zeros hit the clock, but then I swapped over and the Georgia and Kentucky was 2 minutes left, and I was like, oh, Georgia has the ball. GG, it's over. Kentucky loses.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, I mean, had Kentucky not like burn out through that last like minute or so,
they
I
looked
mean, they had all
defeated.
that they had all that they could. They had like the whole 2 seconds reversed. They had like 18 seconds back on the clock.
Yeah.
I mean, they stuck
But
it
also,
out
dude,
in outfield and stuff.
2 minutes,
I
and
mean,
I said that in Discord. In 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, they took it like they panned a camera shot on the defensive line. They just looked they just looked sad. They looked defeated, like they gave
They
up
did.
already with 2
They
minutes in
did.
the fourth. Like
they did.
I saw that one of the defensive tackles. He was like, like he looked like he was about to start crying.
Yeah.
But,
Had they
like-
had if they had put the gas on it, they could have beat Georgia, and that
Like,
would have been an
Oh
upset
yeah,
game
and
for
don't get
like
me wrong, I don't
for
like,
the last how many years?
Yeah, for real. And don't get me wrong, I don't like Kentucky or Georgia because they're our rivals. Whatever. Who would? But it would have hindered Georgia's season a bit. It probably wouldn't have got them out completely of playoff or SEC play or conference play. But being beat by Kentucky would have been great. It would have just been.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see because I hate Georgia. I'm
I
starting to hate
hate
Georgia
both.
more now than any other team in the SEC.
I mean,
like I
it
don't
did
even really
bring 'em
hate
down a
Bama
spot.
anymore because they've just beat us every year. I'm like, Alabama's just Nick Saban was
Yeah.
goated, but he's not the coach anymore. But Alabama was just good.
But-
It's just annoying because they got so good that they thought they were going to be good all the time, and then when they lost, they were like, and started crying about it.
To
Never
try to
lose.
bring it back to what you were talking about earlier, looking at the schedule,
Yeah, how we will finish the actual record.
I'm
3
thinking
games in.
I'm gonna still say 10-2. I'm saying that's where we're gonna be at. Now there's a chance we can go 11-1, but I'm saying 10-2 is realistic as what I'm seeing so far.
I don't.
Okay.
It's difficult for me to gauge because when you really look at like some of the statistics and stuff, I agree with Dustin in a sense that I think that it's a 10-2 season possibly, but I mean there are statistics that say that we could go 11-1 if we really wanted to. But the only thing that I'm really looking at, I mean, Clay made some good points, Dustin made some good points. I'd kind of bring them together. I mean, it is Nico's first year. We really haven't seen him play a full game before. I mean, I know that Jaden has had strong opinions on this in the past, but I think our defense is, I mean, it's pretty good. It's probably one of the best defenses in the SEC.
Well,
currently.
I have a strong opinion because our defense has sucked for the last 20 years.
That's
It
now.
has,
true.
and I know you do hate Tim Banks and everything like that, but
I don't hate
it's
Tim
like-
Banks. I just hate how we suck every time on defense.
but I mean, our defense has been pretty solid.
Oh yeah, I've
for
been
the last
happy.
for the
Oh, I
last
love
couple
our
of
I mean,
years.
rushing game.
we ain't let a team score the past 4 games. That's unheard
Yeah, I
of.
mean,
True.
we've
That's
we've
good.
scored more with our defense than we've let points scored on us.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is crazy.
Yeah,
that's
no
great.
team has scored a touchdown against
But
us yet.
let's look at
I
the
don't
last
think. No,
four
NC
four
did, sorry.
teams. Let's look at
That
the
was a
last 4
defensive
teams
touchdown.
that
My
we
bad.
haven't led score. It's not been the elite teams. So we
Which is
can't.
true.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
can't say
no,
nothing
but-
until we get to Arkansas.
No,
or,
I
Oklahoma
think all
and
your points are
Alabama.
valid. Clay and Cody and Dusty all make like valid point. It makes complete sense. Like our defense in terms of these teams we played has not allowed an actual touchdown like scored on our defense. A lot of people misunderstand what I would say, but I also seen it in comment sections like, "Oh, are you stupid? Tennessee had a touchdown scored on them."
That was a
pick
pick,
six,
yeah.
moron, not on our defense. So like, yeah, our
That
defense
never should
like,
have happened.
yeah.
I mean,
that
he got
was not
hit
Nico's
while he was
fault.
going down. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
mean,
giving Nico a lot of leeway because he's a freshman quarterback. You know, he's new to this like college field of play. So when he threw that one pick in NC State, like his first, actual career pick, I was like, I mean,
that was a
whatever.
rookie thing to me.
but he did throw that, like we talked about it. He threw that ball on purpose, and there was
Yeah.
a
Well,
miscommunication.
there's a
on that
difference
route.
between a good pick and a bad pick.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was, I mean, in all seriousness, that was a good one because it just wasn't directly toward him. He was trying to lead his receiver, and it just didn't happen. I mean, he
Well,
had
yeah,
good
but
intentions
also-
with the ball.
Yeah, you could tell that he saw the coverage, like, yeah, I can, and he threw it on purpose. He threw the ball on purpose.
Yeah,
not
I mean, he
that-
wasn't getting
not
hit
no
or
Joe Milton,
anything,
where he's like,
yeah.
oh, triple coverage, and just throw it in, and like, I saw it there in the Texas A&M game. What Joe Milton would do. I saw him throw the ball like the 40-yard line or something when I was there into triple coverage in the end zone. I'm like, hey, Joe Milton, maybe if you stopped worrying about your Milton meal at McDonald's and actually practiced and trained, maybe you wouldn't throw the ball in triple coverage. But that's
Milton
besides
Mill
the
is
point.
crazy.
No more Milton
But-
talk for the rest of the season.
looking at what you're saying here, what do you think we're going to be at then?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, Clay and Cody about not having our defense, defense points, it's good. Like we've never had a thing, but I also agree with your point, Dustin, that we've not. Besides Chattanooga, Kent State, throw them out because they're not good really. But NC State was supposed to be the first mini obstacle. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a ranked opponent. They're going to score on you. Just how many points? Like they gave us what? A 14, 20 point spread that game or something, and
Yeah, I
we beat
know
them
it
by
wasn't-
41 points. So we only proved them wrong, but our defense showed up, and I'm glad
Mhm.
it was good, but not in the first half.
I
We
think
talked about it.
Yeah, I think
I was
we,
pissed off.
we all said that we expected NC State. We actually gave them points when we predicted the game.
But I thought they
and
would score
defense didn't.
offensively,
Yeah.
and they still didn't. And you could see my visible frustration back in our text chat in the general about how pissed off I was. Like, really, we're allowing these passes, we're allowing these run. I'm not expecting us to be god tier every play of the game on defense. That's just not going to happen. And I get Alabama gets a one run busted on them every once in a while for 70 yards, something crazy like that. It's
Well, you
bound
gotta-
to happen. But
You got to think of this too. I mean, all of our secondary just about is transfers.
yeah,
Now, granted, they're veterans of college football.
they just never played for
but
us.
They've never all played together. So I mean, it being week 2, having a ranked
They-
opponent wasn't really that good. But granted, still,
Yeah,
getting that click together, playing as a team, like in that environment.
And I even admitted in the NC State post game that looking back on the highlights, and I know the highlights are like cut up because it's not full games, but looking back at like the game, the defense performed satisfactory. I'm not complaining about it. But I'm telling you, it's the battered Vols syndrome. Like our defense has just always been bad, and I still see glimpses. I'm sorry, I still see glimpses of it. I still see this terrible zone coverage that we still play. There is sometimes man to man that we've done really good on, and I'm glad to see that pulling through. But
We
Tim
have been
Banks is
able
just
to
obsessed with this NFL
Yeah.
fucking zone coverage, and I know sometimes you have to run zone coverage in certain plays depending on whatever they're doing, but like. It's not the option every single. Now our pass rush is insane. Still, I like it. I would like to say, James Pierce to me. I don't know how much of like his pass rushing has actually been allowing the pocket to collapse. I'm assuming a lot what he's done rushing towards the quarterback has allowed us to get sacks or allow the quarterback to make a risky decision, but I can't say for sure. But I guess college football 25 spoiled me when I saw him sacking for 25 sacks a game because he was broken.
Well,
But like,
you also got to
I
look
would-
at that defense. Everybody that we played so far, they know Pierce is getting ready to come through that line.
oh,
So
they
they've been double
team him.
teaming him.
They know it.
But what's been happening, and it's beautiful, it's allowed Peely to come on the other side
Yeah.
and get those hits.
So-
That's a character right there that I didn't even consider being a factor.
So, like, in terms of our defense, you all make good points, but the real test of our defense integrity is the Oklahoma game.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
start of conference game. Are we gonna do? And I still think we beat Oklahoma because Tennessee. I think with our offense now, as explosive it is, we can have a shootout. Like if our defense fails, okay, we'll just score again next drive. Who cares, you know? But like the record, I don't think 10-2 is impossible. I said the realistic record when we started this, you know,
was
this
9-3.
or the back was 9-3,
Yeah.
just because it's a new freshman quarterback. There's a lot of unknowns and new new secondary, you know, whatever. But I think 10-2, yeah, it could be like if we're talking 10-2 losses, the losses are coming from Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah,
If
that's what I'm
the
saying too,
realistic
yeah.
two
Yeah.
losses. But even the Alabama game to me is a toss-up 50-50 because it's a new Alabama coach. Yes, some of the Nick Saban talent is still there, but to me, that's a coaching battle. Who can outcoach the other and who can execute plays better on
And they are
both sides of
having
the ball.
some struggles down there in
Yeah.
Alabama.
Jalen
I mean,
Jalen Milroe and I talked about I think I talked about this in a later episode. He's improved. Like you can see he's improved over the offseason, but he still makes this weird choice to scramble 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then get sacked instead of throwing the ball away, and it's crazy to me. He has this bad habit of thinking that he's Michael Vick, Virginia Tech, Atlanta Falcons, Philadelphia Eagles era, just running around the backfield and then taking off for 40 yards. I get it, dude, that if Michael Vick was goated in everything, but like you're not Michael Vick. You're Jalen Milroe, and you play for Alabama. Play like it. If Nick Saban was here and he saw you taking 20-yard sacks, he would beat you to a pulp. Okay? Like, I don't know why he's making those choices. So he still has this weird rookie mentality to try to be the hero and do the hero plays on trying to out-scramble the defense 20 yards behind this line of scrimmage. And those plays are cool. Don't get me wrong, but if our defense could be as heavy against an Alabama game like that, we have I still think we have a real chance of winning just now.
I
I'm not
think
saying that we
the
don't.
Oklahoma
but-
game, to see how our defense reacts to the Oklahoma game, will basically let me know how big of a chance we have against Alabama.
If we stay 10-2 and in the top 12, we will be a playoff team.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a
That's just the bottom line.
yeah. But
9-3 is not impossible. I've said this for 9. There's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of teams that are 9-3, but the problem with going 9-3 and making the playoffs, there's going to be teams that are 9-3 and make the playoffs. But that's the problem. Who gets to go in? Because there's going to be a lot of teams go 9-3. Well, 10-3 if you count the bowl game.
yeah,
But 9-3 regular season. But you have to be there. I've actually seen the playoff work that a 16th ranked team can make it into a playoff slot based on their schedule, how they've played and who they played. But that's like rare. That's like a rare case scenario. But
we don't know how that's all going to play out
no,
until
we won't know.
further
But
down
first
into
12
the
teams,
yeah.
as long as you're in even if you're in the 12th, they could swap you out with someone else that's like the 13th and put them in the 12th slot instead. But I still think 10-2, top 12 will be a playoff team. I would still like to go for a conference.
I think we're going to be 10-2. I think if we beat Alabama, even if we lose to Georgia, we're going up against Georgia again for the conference.
Well,
Still got
I
Texas.
would hope
We do have Texas. Yeah, that's right.
if Texas goes undefeated, I mean, they're conference. They're going to the conference.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot
If
about
they lose,
I
if they lose their
forgot about
conference game,
Texas.
and if we're expected to lose one, it's not impossible. Like if
Yeah.
if Georgia somehow, let's look at Georgia's schedule. If Georgia somehow loses to like, who do they play?
Georgia plays Alabama.
If they lose to Alabama this coming week somehow, that would help us. And if we somehow beat Alabama, that would help us. Because if
Yeah.
we beat Alabama and lose only to Georgia, well, we beat Alabama, but Georgia lost to Alabama, and Texas undefeated, we might have a real chance, of going to the conference than Texas or whatever. But I would like to see us go to a conference and go to the playoffs. Of course, playoffs is the goal,
Yeah.
obviously. But I want a conference. I want to win a conference.
I
I
think
want I want to be a champ in something.
no, I know,
please.
but the conference now is even harder to get than it was beforehand. I mean, realistically, you're probably going to be to have a better shot at getting the national title than the conference. Because I mean, what would we say 6 right now? That's in the top 7 spots.
Yeah.
That's SEC. I mean, that's
Georgia,
yeah.
Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Missouri.
If that stays the same throughout the one of us of 6 of us will have a better shot winning the national title, even if we lose a conference. I mean,
Right. And this might be off topic. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the way they had it laid out, since it's a 12 team playoff, I've looked into it. They said that the 5 spot will play the 12 spot the way they have it laid out.
Yeah.
So if we get the 5 spot, we're playing the easiest team in the playoffs.
which would be good.
So-
Would be a good spot to hit. I mean,
But also, like, if we make it to the conference and we lose, it doesn't mean we don't make it to the playoffs. But if you win your conference, you're still going to make it to the playoffs. Like, it doesn't matter if we lose the conference or not, but it might, depending on how they do it. Just like going off a lot of things that I've seen and like looking into it myself. If we both make it to the if we and Georgia make it to the conference and we lose the conference, there's a good chance we still get put into the playoffs regardless if we lose the conference. But if you win the conference, of course, it just helps your cases. You're going to get put in anyway because of your record, who you've played, and if you beat those people, and of course, if you won the conference. But like, yeah, 10-2, sure, but I would like to go 11-1. That'd be cool.
That
but
would be
10-2 is
cool.
realistic.
I mean, 11-1's possible. I think it's in the realm of possibility.
But like Clay said earlier, Georgia's like, and we like us three even saw it last season. Georgia, for some reason, the start of the season just starts slow.
They do.
Like,
And
and
look at
then
the
it's like,
Clemson game.
yeah,
They
and
didn't
yeah,
score. They didn't score until like 6 or 7 minutes before
and then
half
when it gets
against
to
Clemson.
and then when it gets to conference play, it's like they're a different team. When it starts being, well, except for I guess this last Kentucky game, but like when it gets like halfway through the season, they just start playing like the Georgia team we all know.
Well,
And Alabama has been the same way.
well, let's ask the newcomer what he thinks our record is going to be at the end of this season.
Personally, I believe we could go 11-1.
You think we got the chops to go 11-1?
I think we make it. I think Alabama, it's going to be another just a freaking gun show who can score the most points. But I think the atmosphere in Knoxville, you just can't
Yeah.
beat it.
Well, then that question would
honestly-
be, if we beat Alabama again at home, do we also rip down the goalposts and throw them in the river again? That's the question.
No, it's not that
I
big.
don't know.
It's not that big.
I mean,
Rush the
I
field
guess
for
only,
sure.
Only
Pretty
time will
big.
tell. We'll have to worry about winning the game first before we worry about tearing down goalposts.
True.
A sight that I
as far
think
as
I would
Georgia
never see
goes,
again.
I think we'll come out ahead early against Georgia. I just think Georgia's too good of an all-around team. Unless they play like they did against Kentucky.
That's
think
a
they'll end up
possibility.
beating us.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
And it's really hard to gauge whether or not, what we see against Kentucky is going to be for most every game. I mean, they could have just, made mistake after mistake after mistake. And then they come around whenever we play them and just, throw dots every other play. So,
Well, yeah, because this is going to be a different Georgia team because we played them near the end of the season than
Yeah.
Georgia playing Kentucky 3 games in, So,
they've done have Alabama under their belt, whether it's a
Yep.
win
Yeah.
or a loss.
yeah. And that's
And granted, we
experience.
will too. We play them before we play Georgia. But,
Yeah,
they play them next
time
week
will
or
tell.
this weekend.
Yeah, they
so.
play them this weekend. They'll get that out of their system real quick, and we'll get ours
I
out
will
in
wa-
a few weeks.
I will obviously watch the obviously this Oklahoma and Tennessee game, obviously, but like I
as
want
far
to
as
swap between the Alabama and Georgia game.
Oklahoma goes, though, I think we've got it in the bag easy.
I do,
I mean, you
too.
got to look back at their record. They let Houston score 12 points on them, unranked. They let Tulane score 19 on them, unranked. They
Yeah.
only beat Houston unranked by 4 points.
And we slammed a ranked, and everyone's like, well, it was NC State. They're not really good. Yeah, but they were a top 25 team. And if you score it big on any top 25 team, the AP polls go crazy. They're like, oh my God, they're really good. And then that's why we
Yeah.
moved up 7 spots.
That's why
from
we're in number 6
14.
right now.
So, like, scoring any ungodly amount of points in a game shows, well, they're probably good. But even though it's against, like, stupid teams like Kent State or Chattanooga, like, we still did that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like, look in our
that's the
past when we
thing.
played Chattanooga, 50 points, only 50, something like that. Now we're scoring 69. We imagine playing at Kent State back in Joe Milton last year.
Oh, even like
55,
Garantano, we may
45
have
points.
lost that game.
Like, even like we've played Chattanooga a couple times over the past 4 or so years, or right as like a starter or a start game for the season, and we've only beaten like 45, 55 points. Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but really 69 the first game, and then Kent State on a throwaway 70. Well, let's get who is it? The last person we play? I didn't mute my phone. Oh, UTEP. The oh God, who knows what we're gonna do
Vanderbilt
against
last.
UTEP? No, I mean like in terms of like the last non-conference team.
Oh.
But yeah, Vanderbilt flat. We'll slam Vanderbilt, but UTEP. Oh, God forbid. Good luck, UTEP. I hope at the end of the season you're prepared because what are we gonna do against UTEP? We gonna slam them? Oh yeah, we're gonna slam them. But how bad? Like so. Like,
Well,
if you look back to the
actually, it's a
past-
possibility we could slam them. Depending on what happens in Georgia, if we we'll be mad no matter what after the Georgia game. UTEP is getting the aggression of that Georgia game.
Yeah. They're gone.
like
They're gone, bro.
the
I
Alabama and
will
Oklahoma
feel
game
bad
starts
about
at
them.
or the Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and Oklahoma game this week starts at the same time. So I'm gonna have to keep a close eye on both of them, even though I'm gonna be tightly glued to the Tennessee game.
Yeah,
The thing that worries me is just staying healthy. I mean, you got
Yeah.
you
But
got seven straight conference games. Granted,
Yeah.
whether it be good or
Are you gonna
bad,
get hit with the injury bug or not?
well, I mean, not that, but you have, I mean, you've got 2 arguably really good running backs, and our offense obviously tends to run the ball quite well.
yeah,
Yeah, Josh
And
Heupel definitely still wants to be a run-first team, which is fine. I
Yeah.
don't hate that. It's just because
and
it
knock
allows us
on
to open the
wood,
pass.
hoping nothing happens. I mean, as far as later on going down the road, it's just too early to tell, I think.
but I do like
No, it is
even
too early.
I mean, not it's really early, and not trying to knock on wood, all that I hope nothing happens. But I mean, looking at even this last Kent State game, Gaston Moore coming out. I mean, he performed beautifully.
Yeah, he had more touchdowns than Nico did.
Yeah, I
last
mean,
game.
the kid bombed up. I mean, threw a bomb up. I mean, it was beautiful. And I like having him in that backup slot because it means we do have a veteran quarterback back there in case if something, goes down. Is he as good as Nico? No. But he's still a veteran quarterback that's been with the team for quite some time. He knows the plays. He knows what's going on. And I feel
Knows how
like
to
it's
run offense.
exactly. And I feel like he's a good safe bet if something ever does happen. So I'm hoping Nico learns how to slide. He needs to learn that before we get up against Alabama, before we go up against Georgia. Those teams are going to be headhunting.
I'm noticing that
So,
Nico
yeah.
is starting to scramble a lot, and
Yeah.
it's really getting me worried because it's like he's not sliding. Like nobody slides anymore, and he's not sliding, and I'm really worried that all it's going to take is like one hit stick is all it's going to take, and
Yeah.
he's injury for like 2-3 games.
We don't need that. We don't need that against the Alabama and the Georgia games. We need him healthy. We need him ready to go. Like I said, Gaston Moore, great quarterback, looked great. But I'd rather have Nico in those games for multiple different reasons. One, although he's a new kid, it's his first year, but we need him to experience these teams this year. Because if he needs to be building off these teams, win, lose, what, draw, we need him to experience these teams this year. So next year, when we face these teams again, he knows how to handle himself in these games.
Oh, not to mention, like, I like how you brought up next year. You know what's a real scary possibility for me?
What's that?
Not like this will happen, like Nico will do this or anything, but just since the transfer portal is so prevalent nowadays, I'm just afraid of teams like or players on it. Look at Tyler Barron that used to play for us. He went to Miami. He just left.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like, who after this season? Let's say we don't really perform how we're supposed to. How many people's hitting that portal? What if Nico's like,
I don't think
"Eh,
I don't think
I'm
a
done,"
whole
and
lot.
just leaves?
No, that's
I know it's just
yeah.
a scary thing to think about because of how crazy the transfer portal is. But
Only reason why someone would up and leave like that is if they're just not getting a lot of playing time.
I mean, what if
Nico's
Bishop
a
wants to? What if he
Bishop
wants
is-
to leave and get
he's not
started? You know?
Yeah, he's
Well,
not. There's
He's too invested. to
yeah.
leave.
he ran for more yards and more touchdowns than Dylan Sampson last game
Yeah, I mean,
for Kent State.
they're the people they're invested
Actually-
in this team. They're
oh.
not leaving nowhere. Now,
Actually,
what
Dylan Sampson got more touchdowns. Sorry, had to rectify that.
what you need to look at is maybe your backups. So yeah, that's possible. That is possible that they'll find greener pastures where they can actually play. Not there is any greener pastures, but they'll find places that they can get some play time in because they got to look out for their careers too. They got to
That's true.
they got to find a place where they can showcase their talents off because they're going to try to get into the NFL like most other players.
they want to be starters.
Yeah, I mean that happens. But I mean Nico's not going to go anywhere. I mean if he does,
No,
that's a
he's
shock.
Legacy
Yeah.
franchise quarterback, literally. He will
He's
start for us every single year. There's
right
no reason for him to
now
leave.
he can go out on the field and just throw 14 not that I want him to, but he could
What?
probably throw 14 interceptions and he's so loved right now. I don't think he's going to be hated at all. The kid is
Nah,
golden
I'd tell
right
him to
now.
Get out of here.
No,
Nah,
if he threw 14 interceptions, I'd be pissed off.
I mean,
I'm not-
hypothetically, I'm just saying. But I mean, you got
in
but,
a game, yeah, get him out.
No, but I mean, look at it. He's a freshman. He's new. We expect him not to make all the
I
you know,
agree, but if he threw 14 interceptions as a freshman, I'm sorry,
it's
just put Gaston Moore in, man.
hypothetical. It's
No, I
hypothetical.
agree. I know
I'm
what you're
just-
saying hypothetically, but I'm looking at a real like if he came out and just played
Start-
bad, I would be like, no,
Yeah.
Nico, you're stuck. I'm sorry, and then just play Gaston Moore.
But I'm just saying, if he comes out and has a bad night, he's not
No, I
going to
don't
be
care if he has a bad
hated.
night, yeah.
You know,
No, because Joe Milton did that every night, so I,
I mean,
know what
look-
it means.
and yeah,
Look at the North Carolina game. I mean, he threw his first interception, and then right after that, he threw his first pick six.
Yeah.
You know, I
well,
mean,
the pick
and
six
we
wasn't his fault.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he threw his first career interception and first career pick six, all within like the same quarter. And I mean, we still viewed him as in the same light. I mean, we're like, oh, it's just freshman.
Responded was insane.
Yeah,
The
Well, he's a
first play-
level-headed kid.
The
I mean,
second
he's
play after the first pick that he threw to like towards Brew, bombed the Squirrel White. Would have been a touchdown if Squirrel White didn't trip over his own feet, but he fell.
I mean,
So-
even when he threw his first pick, I wasn't mad a bit. I was just like,
No, I wasn't mad.
I was like, that happens. That it was bound to happen
expected that to happen
eventually.
eventually.
yeah.
So I there was no hostility at all, and I feel like that was
No.
most fans. They looked at it like, oh, freshman quarterback. He can't be perfect. He's gonna cause have some problems here and there.
And he reaffirmed that with the bomb the Squirrel White after that
Yeah,
interception.
He
It's
came
coming
back
right out the
and,
gate.
like I mean,
Bro was like, all right, let me cook.
in the general chat, I said I want to see how he handles
That was
himself
important.
going
It was a
back
good-
into the next drive.
It was a good experiment. Maybe he did it on purpose. I'm just kidding.
I doubt that. And watching the press conference after, Nico sat down and I think it was Samson was joined beside of him, and they asked him, you had an amazing first half, you were nearly perfect. Is there any way you could possibly, do better than you're doing now? And he said, there's always room for improvement. There's things that we're doing right now that we could do 10 times better.
Well, I think that comes from Josh Heupel too, not just him. I mean, Josh Heupel is just a heck of a coach.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
No,
going.
granted, we had Joe Milton last year. I mean, as far as how much he developed him, and you look back at Hendon Hooker on what he's able to do with a good quarterback, I mean, it's proven that he is the right man for the job.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
gonna keep
absolutely.
Oh, he's revived the program.
and he's gonna have those kids in the right state of mind too. I
And our
mean,
recruiting is starting to be insane.
We had a 5-star there yesterday at the game. I'm sure he saw that atmosphere and was like, "Sign me up immediately."
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, like, even for me, and I don't even go there. I don't go to college at all. But like, just going there as a fan, I went like last year when I went to the Texas A&M game. That was probably one of the best atmospheres I have ever been in that stadium in. It was weird. I don't know, like, and my first Tennessee game was a Florida game in 2012, and it still somehow didn't seem well. That atmosphere was pretty cool, but like the Texas A&M game was just it was different. I don't know. It was just different, and the Texas A&M, even a lot of, I mean, of course, everyone wants to be kind and respectful, but even people, there was a lot of people from Texas there, man. Like there was a lot of away fans there at that game. A lot of them. Like there was like you could see the red infecting the orange. That's how, or like their burgundy color. I guess it's not really a red, but you know, like their maroon burgundy color.
Yeah.
But like after the game, when we're walking out, you know, I told you this story before. He was like, "Well, it's up to you guys now to beat Bama," and then we lose to Bama. So it's like, well, we didn't keep your promise, A&M fan, dude. But like, it's just the atmosphere is good. Yeah, I think our fan base is respectful given the. I think a lot of the toxic fan base is probably from, I would hate to say it, maybe the student section. I mean, when you're dressed up in a gorilla suit on the corner of a house or a dorm throwing bananas at someone's truck, piss drunk. I mean, why are we? And also screaming some slurs in a megaphone when the Texas A&M fans are walking to their car. I mean, really, dude, really.
Yeah,
Really.
I mean, but I think
That's not the
overall,
average fan.
no, but I mean, just
The atmosphere's
just
great.
looking at
Sign me
that
up.
game, I'm sure that 5-star was like, we just Tennessee
He
just put
insta-committed.
instant commit 70 some points, 71 points on a
I
to
would have.
0. I would have insta committed. I mean, and I'm sure Heupel designed it that way. He made sure that kid was there for that game because he knew that his team was going to be able to perform at that level. And that's smart. That is smart. That means the coach knows how to bring kids in. And if I was still, if I was in that age group, I would have definitely loved to play for Heupel. I mean, that's that I love
I would
to,
just love to play Tennessee regardless.
yeah.
I
But
mean, I would arguably
Even if we
say,
suck.
I would say that Josh Heupel probably has like more bringing in power than something like Coach Prime in Colorado.
oh
I mean,
yeah, by far.
I mean, you think about it. Last year, that was the biggest
Colorado
thing.
sucks. Is one
There's
thing.
everybody wants to go play for Coach Prime, something like that. I would say, an SEC coach like Coach Heupel probably has more draw-in power than some of those teams combined. I mean, he's SEC is already one of the best conferences, if not the best
It
conference.
is the best conference.
it is
And-
not even close.
I mean, if we're playing for somebody like a Tennessee, we're ranked 6th.
We're a
and
historic team.
Yeah.
We're a historic team, and then he's got all these good players. I
May
mean,
not
he's
look like it the last 20
started
years,
out. He started out like straight out of the gates. He's getting us almost into the playoffs with Hendon Hooker, and I mean, you take that kind of drawing power, he's going to get some of these 5-star
especially the
recruits.
mess Pruitt left him with. Yeah.
Yeah, especially bringing him back
And
from that kind of
the
mess.
morons that say championship or bust, fire Coach Heupel is stupid.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
that's dumb. That
You're
is
insane.
that was too,
I don't
Why
know where
too
that's
he's
stupid.
coming from.
Because they're entitled somehow. Because we had one good year, 2022, and they think we need to play that. I mean, yeah, I think we should play that way every year, but you're not going to.
No, I mean, and you also got to look at other teams, how they're playing, and I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Georgia's got that pool too down there. They got the star powers down
They
there.
got that pull all right.
Yeah.
Pulled
In
over.
Alabama,
Oh, yeah,
everybody want to play with Saban.
That was
Then he left.
Nice shot there. But I mean,
They got more pull than the cops do, pulling the cop fucking players over.
all right, so we've been going a little long. It's I didn't expect this podcast
Yeah, I
to go
didn't.
this long on a Kent State review, which we didn't really talk much about that review. We
Well,
talked about other things. But I'm pretty much, I think we've kind of beat the horse to death on this one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Y'all have anything else to say in wrapping up?
Yeah, I have a I have something to say.
All right.
Good job, UConn. You almost beat Duke. And I'm pulling for you in the F Atlantic game. UConn by 50. F Atlantic loses. That's what I'm saying. That's my UConn prediction for the game. I'm done.
Real quick before we end,
Yeah.
final score of the Tennessee game.
Wait, what are you talking
What do
about?
you mean?
What's y'all's opinion?
What?
Us and
71.
Oklahoma.
No.
Oh,
We do that
Oklahoma.
on we do that on Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursdays.
we do that
yeah.
on Thursday.
That yeah. Predictions come out for pregame. So yeah.
But unless you're not here, you can go ahead and give us your prediction.
Yeah. If you're not gonna be here on
You go
Thursday,
ahead.
go ahead. But ours won't come out until Thursday.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and say mine.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to give Oklahoma 17.
Okay.
I'll give us 59.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty generous.
Let me make sure I jot this down. 17 Oak.
And make sure to write this down too. UConn 56.
Okay.
Florida Atlantic 3. Hey,
UConn's actually not that bad this year.
UConn
either.
almost beat Duke. That's all I'm saying. They did beat Duke last year. No, they didn't. Sorry, I lied. I'm thinking of someone else.
You just wish we played.
What did you
them
say?
for us to give
59
the
to
game.
us.
59-17 Tennessee.
17. Okay. All right.
Hey, they beat Liberty one year.
I got you down.
And almost NC State. And they beat Rice. They almost beat South Florida. They almost beat Boston College.
Almost beat Boston College. What the?
And they beat Sacred Heart.
All
whatever
right.
that is.
So
And they beat UMass.
anything else other than UConn talk? Do we have anything else to say before we wrap this up?
Go Vols.
Yeah. Go Big O.
Cody?
GBO.
All right.
NFL.
As always, we are super excited for this upcoming
How about them
week. We
dogs?
moved up a spot in the polls, and that's can only means more greatness coming. That's being shown onto Tennessee, and we will be back again for our pregame podcast against Oklahoma, and we will be revealing the rest of our score predictions then, and looking at a little bit more in depth. Matchup between the Oklahoma and Tennessee game. And until then, I'm Dustin.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Cody.
And I'm Clay.
And we'll catch you next time.